Okay, boys and girls, we are off, and I'm actually following my dad. I think this person's let me through because they can see we're together. Thank you very much. So, the slight difference is, my dad is on a Bandit 600, albeit restricted. It will be my brother's bike in a few weeks, really. Yeah, we're just out for a Sunday ride. Have to say, these past couple of days, Instagram and TikTok have gone nuts. It's been weird to see. So I got a message on Instagram earlier from a girl who just wants to know what she wants, or what to do about getting her first bike. So any tips, any advice. So I'll use that as a general conversation for this video, and then obviously if other stuff happens, then the topic will change quickly. I have a tendency to waffle or not know what to say at all, so we'll see what goes on. Now, I said in my earlier video, Noxie is technically my second bike because I did have a 125, but I class that Mini is so far up the bike's arse. Sorry. Anyway, Noxie is technically my second bike, but she's the first one I put quite a lot of thought into, as in when I was deciding what bike to have. My 125 was purely for a bit of road experience. It was never going to be a long-term thing. So I got both of my bikes, the 125 and Noxie, on Facebook Marketplace. Obviously, you do have to be careful when you're buying second-hand. However, some general tips with that is, if you don't know much about bikes, make sure you're taking someone who does. General rules: the bike has a V5. It does not say needs an MOT but will fly through. The bike has decent MOT history, decent service history, or, you know, basically someone who has taken care of their bike and has the records to prove it. When I bought Noxie, I was astounded with the amount of receipts that I got given of various maintenance things and all this kind of just general upkeep. She'd be very well stored. She was low mileage for the age, 6,000 miles for a 12-year-old bike. All stuff to be aware of, and all stuff that someone who rides bikes or knows a lot about bikes will know and be able to help you out with. Generally, when you're looking at picking a bike, it comes down to a few things, right? If you're in the UK, like me, first thing is, okay, what license do you have and how old are you? Or, you know, those two go hand in hand. So I was, or still am, on my A2 license, and I'm 21. Which obviously determines what license I could have got with the Mod 1 and Mod 2 tests. Concentration time. Stay where you are, please. Let me get on the roundabout. Okay, so choosing a bike. First of all, what style do you want? That was fairly obvious for me. I like the look of sport bikes. I wanted a sport bike, so I started looking at sport bikes. Secondly, brand. For me, it was one of the Japanese brands for reliability and accessibility of spare parts if I needed them. My local garage, I know, is obviously very well versed. I mean, every local garage will be well versed in Japanese bikes because they're so common. Essentially, not a Chinese bike. I did that for my 125 and it wasn't the best experience. And not a European bike because of the expense. And then it came down to power, which obviously is determined by your license. So I could get up to, I can never remember the number, I think it's 47 horsepower, is it not? Whatever the A2 requirement is, that was the power bracket that I was looking in. My one requirement really was that I could very comfortably sit at motorway speed. That was my requirement going into this. I was a new rider because I didn't spend a lot of time on my 125, so I treated this as basically being brand new, just practicing my leans. And with power also comes great responsibility. No, I'm kidding. Budget. I really liked the look of the Ninjas. I was pretty much sold on a Ninja, considering my dad has had several Ninjas, or, you know, just Kawasaki's in general as well. And I have to say it's my favourite brand now, especially now. So I was sold on the Ninjas. Now, the thing was, obviously, the Ninja 400, which is probably considered the one of the golden children of the A2 motorcycles. Yeah, there's a speed camera there. Careful. Although I suppose it is front facing, but anyway, we are law-abiding citizens. I've lost my train of thought. Ninja 400, yes. That was out of my budget for my first bike. So I looked around and I found the Ninja 250 and I was like, ooh, I like the look of that. Oh, we're doing one-handed riding now. Yeah, I can do that too now. I feel very posh when I do this. Yeah, and then it basically took a few weeks of just looking around different bikes, watching some reviews, that kind of thing. And Ninja 250s, I was sold. I was like, yeah, that looks like my first bike. Then it came to obviously messaging dealers and whatnot. Not dealers, just individual people on Marketplace. And obviously after the fiasco of me messaging a load of people and getting messed around, and Dad messaging one guy and him turning out to be genuine, we went and saw him, and I sat on the bike. I looked at the bike first, sat on the bike, got a feel for it, and immediately I was like, yeah, this feels right. Now the thing is, it depends on how much experience you have on bikes previously, and if your only experience is 125s, then a larger displacement bike will feel very heavy to start with. So yes, go and sit on the bike and make sure it's the right sort of seating position for you and it feels right, but don't be put off if it feels heavier than what you can manage, because trust me, the more you get used to it, the lighter the bike feels. And now Noxie feels light as a feather. She feels lighter than what my 125 was, because I have more experience on her now. Other things you might consider: have a look at seat heights, and obviously weight of the bike as well. Make sure it's something that you're comfortable with. As I said, the bike itself can feel very light, but it depends on how dependent you're going to be on maneuvering the bike. So let's say you have a really tight alleyway, you need to get your bike down. That needs to be something you need to consider. It's all down to, your situation. Does that bike fit into your life? That's why there's so many, because everyone needs something different. So seat height wise, this is down to personal taste as well. Some people like to flat foot their bikes. Some people like to tell others that they need to flat foot their bikes. I do not think you need to flat foot your bike. If I did, I would not be riding any sport bike. My guideline was I need to be able to hold the bike up with one foot comfortably and shift it from one foot to the other. That was my guideline, and I can do that. I suppose some good modifications to look for, especially if you're buying a second-hand bike, chances are someone's already done stuff to the bike, unless you get something like me where Noxie was basically stock, because the previous owner didn't have her full long. I've obviously put on a slip-on exhaust, which is purely just for sound in ego. But some mods that will actually be beneficial on a bike if you're looking for one are things like crash protectors, which I am looking at getting for Noxie anyway. Obviously, if it's your new bike, be aware you're going to drop it. And I'm not saying that as something to be scared of. Everyone drops their bike. Everyone stalls their bike. It's part of the learning process. So having a bit of crash protection will help you out, especially if you're spending quite a decent amount of money on your first bike. Another tip: once you've found a bike, get the reg plate, find out what your insurance will be on it. Do that before you buy the bike, because the worst thing that can happen is you buy the bike and then you look at insurance and it costs almost as much as the bike did to insure it, or in some cases more. I know sometimes insurance is going to be a pain no matter what bike you get at certain ages, but it's worthwhile looking. It's one of the reasons I'm looking at a ZX6 for my sort of big A license bike, because hilariously they are cheap for me to insure. I put in the details that I would need when I would go and look at buying the bike. So I had like 2 years no claims discount, that kind of stuff, and I was obviously older and had a full A license. And it is surprisingly cheap to insure it. I don't know why, because it's an absolute pocket rocket. But yeah, make sure your insurance is something that you can afford before you go out and buy that bike. It's worth watching a few YouTube reviews on your bike that you're looking at. There might be certain things that someone picks up on a review and they're a big deal for you, or they're not a big deal for you. So get an idea of what other people think. Also have a look to see if you can find spare parts for the bike that you're looking at. Hello? Blue lights. Somewhere. Oh, up there. Off we go. His acceleration is crazy, and he's not even pushing it. I think Dad finds it weird that I'm on a bike. Oh, we're going there. So yeah, he's having not issues, but there seems to be some sort of something going. Ah, wait a minute! I've got little legs. If you've come from TikTok or Instagram, which chances are you have, because our YouTube subscribers was at a whopping 15 last time I checked. Thanks for following so early on. Comment below what bike you have, if you have one, or what bike you want to have. I know a few people are local already, so we might see you at a bike meet in the future. Not been to one yet, but we are looking at sort of going to some bike meets, especially in the summer. Ooh, let's get the lean in. Let's get it in. I've been watching videos. Do I have my knee down yet? Come on, left hand bend. Lean. This is so funny. It probably looks so stupid when I'm probably barely leaning. Bit by bit. We'll chip away. I have my heated grips on the lowest setting because it's really not that cold. But because I have them and they're new to me, it's like a luxury. So every time I can, I'll turn them on. Now he's probably taking corners slower, to be fair. A, because it's not his bike, and B, because I'm with him. We'll get there, we'll get there. Oh, one thing I want to do is change my tyres. Maybe I'll look through all the receipts that I did get when I got Noxians to see if they have been changed at any point, but I don't think they have. Obviously she was a very new bike for how old she was, but she's due some tyres, you know. I did some research, and the stock ones, they're built to last, and they're not showing any signs of wear. They look great, in great condition, but you know, they don't have the best grip. So I've been looking at some Bridgestone S22s. But yeah, I think that'll be a nice treat. So I'm saving up for some tyres. If I can get them before summer properly begins, then that would be nice. And the other thing, you know, when you start riding, suddenly there is just another thing to buy and then another thing to buy, and it's never ending. So I hope you know that if you're looking at these videos and thinking, yeah, I want to get into riding. It's not cheaper than a car, you know. Fuel might be, I suppose, by the looks of it. But, well, it depends on how many times you take the long scenic route. So yeah, another thing both Katie and I are saving up for is a Cardo pack talk. Because right now I'm using Cardo Spirit, which is actually my dad's, but because he doesn't have a road legal bike at the moment, I am borrowing it. This bike is only his to ride for a few weeks anyway, whilst my brother does his mod 1 and mod 2 for his A2. Those gear changes were awful. I do apologise if that came through on the video. Oh my god, they were so bad. Because I'm just sat here chatting away. No. What were those? Ugh, I'm embarrassed. I don't know whether I'm in second or third gear. I feel like I'm in third. Yes, I am. Hello, doggy. Maybe I'm in... I don't know what gear I'm in. No, I think that's third. Yeah, that's third. Anyway, Cardo Pack Talk, yes, because then we can record our conversations, as in like the audio of the conversations, because right now we can only do these talking videos if we're solo, or we can do the talking videos but we can't hear each other, so that's pretty pointless as an intercom. Thank you, person. Whoa. That was a nice looking car. I'm going to end this video there. I know I sort of went off on a tangent towards the end, but hopefully there's enough there to be helpful. I'm sure we'll end up making this into like a bit of a series, because there's always more things that we think of, you know, to help buying a new bike. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok, but you probably already do that anyway. And I'll see you later. Goodbye.